Hey, before we begin, I just want to let you guys know that issues 1 through 4 of my comic, Dark Phantom, are available now on Comixology and Gumroad. We've been working very hard on it, and issue 5 is currently in production. Thanks, and let's get on with the video. Hey, welcome to Class Act Media. I'm Jack, and did you know I like superheroes? I know I don't talk about it very much, but I actually really like superheroes and superhero movies. So when I was bored looking for something to watch on Netflix, I stumbled upon 2011's The Green Hornet and thought to myself, it's got a guy in a mask punching bad guys, I'll probably get some enjoyment out of it. I did not. Okay, so let's start by taking a step back. After watching the 2011 Green Hornet movie, I decided to do some research on the character of the Green Hornet. I've always been vaguely aware of him, but I knew nothing about the character or his history. The Green Hornet was originally created as a radio drama in 1936 by George W. Trendle and Fran Stryker. Fun fact, these two also had a hand in creating the Lone Ranger, because apparently the only characters they were capable of making were masked vigilantes with ethnic sidekicks who got bad movie adaptations in the 2010s. Anyway, I know the title of this video implies that the Green Hornet is a superhero, but he's really more of an anti-hero, and I mean that in the truest sense of the word. He does heroic things, and his goal is to save people, but he does it all while pretending to be a villain. And it's not like somebody like, say, Spider-Man, who gets painted as the bad guy against his will. Green Hornet's secret identity, Britt Reed, is the publisher of the biggest newspaper in the city, the Daily Sentinel. He could spin public opinion of the Green Hornet any way he wants, but he chooses to be viewed this way as he believes it's the most effective way to fight crime. What a fascinating idea for a character, someone who believes he's doing good but is constantly on the precipice of falling to evil, and arguably he already has. The Green Hornet eventually got a TV show adaptation in 1966 with Van Williams as the titular character and Bruce Lee in his debut acting role as the Green Hornet's sidekick Kato, who apparently doesn't get an alter ego. This show also had a banging theme song. Stop sleeping on this one, people. Even if it is just Flight of the Bumblebee.
I'm gonna pass out!
Green Hornet is such a cool character that even in the 60s Batman show, a show dedicated to taking cool things from comics and removing all the coolness from them, couldn't make him not cool. But there is a certain weed-smoking man who almost got us all blown up by North Korea who could. Yes, after being in development hell since 1992, in 2011 we got The Green Hornet, written by and starring Seth Rogen. Now, I want to be fair, so let's talk about some things I like about the movie. I like how it looks aesthetically. Green Hornet and Kato's costumes look good, as well as their car, the Black Beauty. The way the car gets revealed is spot on to the original show, too. That's a nice touch. Christoph Waltz is doing pretty good as the villain Chudnovsky. I mean, he's not a very well-written character, but Christoph Waltz is a treasure who can do no wrong. And I'll be honest, the only reason I started by talking about all the positives of this movie is because I have no idea where to begin talking about the rest of it. I guess I could start by talking about this absolute mess of a story. You can really tell this script was chopped to bits, chewed up, and spit out over its years in development hell. Or maybe it got butchered in the edit, who knows, but the point is that nothing in this movie, I wouldn't really say it doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have much consequence. The hero and villain don't even meet up until the very end of the movie, so their enemy ship doesn't have much weight. Enemy ship, is that a word? Like the opposite of friendship? Okay, yeah, it's a real word. I'm gonna go on a tangent here. I hate when people use the word rivals to describe enemies. Enemies are people with goals in complete opposition to each other. Rivals are people with the same goal competing to accomplish it better or before than the other. For example, Batman and the Joker are enemies, Ash Ketchum and Gary Oak are rivals. Okay, tangent over. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. Anyway, they also introduced David Harbour as a secondary villain in the third act out of nowhere, and he's had like 2 interactions with the hero. They try to build him up as Seth Rogen's best friend, but they have like 2 conversations throughout the movie. The first time they talk, it's like they're meeting for the first time, and the second time they talk, it's like they're old friends. Side note, David Harbour's character is District Attorney Frank Scanlon, who in the original show was one of Green Hornet's closest allies, so this is kind of like making a Batman movie where Commissioner Gordon is the villain. Anyway, about halfway through the movie, there's this scene where the villains go on a killing spree, killing every random person on the street they see wearing green in an attempt to send a message to the Green Hornet. This would be a huge moment, an awakening to Seth Rogen that his actions have consequences and making him question if he's doing more harm than good. But nah, he's sad for like a second and then immediately forgets about it. And that brings me to another point, and the reason I hated this movie enough to make a video about a nearly decade-old movie. Seth Rogen's character sucks. Remember all that character motivation the original Green Hornet had? His philosophy on how to enforce the law and how it could lead to some fascinating character study? Well, this movie looked at that, dumbed it down to its bare essentials, and just said, he's a superhero, but he's not a very nice guy. Yeah, they somehow heard dark anti-hero towing the line between good and evil and interpreted it as belligerent asshole who's a dick to everyone for absolutely no reason.
Who makes my coffee? Who makes my coffee?
We're not partners. I'm the hero. You're my sidekick.
This might not be so bad if it tied into his motivation or character arc, but no. You wanna know why he becomes the Green Hornet? Because he can. He watches Kato beat up a bunch of bad guys for him and he's like, wow, this would be fun to do every night. Let's just do it every night. That's another thing. Seth Rogen adds nothing to this dynamic. In the original, Kato was the muscle. He drove the car, he fought the bad guys. Green Hornet was handy in a fight too, but he handled more of the detective aspect. These two had a well-defined dynamic and they both served a useful role on the team. In this one, Kato just does everything and Seth Rogen's along for the ride thinking he's a badass. At a certain point, Kato even builds him a gas gun so he can have some method of defending himself, and Seth Rogen takes it as an insult. He's such a thoroughly unlikable character that half of the time I was rooting for the villains to kill him. The movie should have just been called Kato. He's the only good character in the movie. And even then, I'm okay with flawed characters so long as the movie acknowledges that they're flawed. But Seth Rogen really doesn't go through any meaningful arc in this movie. He only ever apologizes for his actions one time, and it's the least self-aware moment I've ever seen in my life. Basically, the whole movie he's been creepily hitting on his assistant played by Cameron Diaz in a way that should have gotten him Me Too'd out of existence.
Who is the hottie boom body who's standing right behind me right now?
At a certain point in the movie, he and Kato get into a fight, which is when Kato lies and tells Seth Rogen that he was sleeping with Cameron Diaz. Seth Rogen is so selfish and so childish that he fires Cameron Diaz for this. And you want to know what his big I'm sorry moment is? The thing that convinces him to rehire her and apologize for his outburst? He finds out Kato lied. The implication is that she would have stayed fired if he hadn't found that out. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some huge Green Hornet fan, and I'm outraged by how his character was disrespected by this movie, because truth be told, I'm not. I knew next to nothing about the character before watching the movie, but after a little time researching, I'm very disappointed. I've been sporadically watching episodes of the TV show throughout the week, and I've been very much enjoying them. There's so much potential in the Green Hornet, and I don't know, hopefully this video might inspire some people to do some research on him themselves and see how cool he is. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure why I made this video. Sometimes I just watch a movie that's so bad I feel like I have to rant about it in order to justify the time I wasted watching it. You know, maybe it's silly of me to make a video ranting about a movie that hasn't been relevant in 9 years, but I really like old, almost forgotten properties like the Green Hornet. Since the character's only modern legacy is this terrible movie, I figured he could use someone in this corner. And hey, if I can say one nice thing about it, at least it made me feel something. It was anger, but it was something. I haven't felt something in so long. Thanks for watching. I'm going to start talking during these end screens because that's apparently good for analytics. If you liked the video, please subscribe and turn on notifications. If you really like me, consider checking out my Patreon. Follow me on Twitter for updates at @ClassAct_media because @ClassActMedia was already taken. Links to everything are in the description. See you guys later.